no clap again. We have another incident of this fine employee here who has a sensory issue. So I cannot clap. Even after a victory week.
I know.
It is Thursday, though, so it's been a couple days.
Yeah, but he's a constant bummer, clearly. He's not a Browns fan. Um, Speaking of that win, 27-0. Big old goose egg. Big old goose egg.
When's the last time?
0-7 against the Bills.
In a snowstorm.
Yeah, that snowstorm of a game.
Phil Dawson.
Yeah, the only reason why we won that game. I mean, that had to be, what, 2 field goals on a safety? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, 8-0. I mean, where do we start on this week?
Defense.
The defense held them to 59 yards.
7 sacks, 3 turnovers.
Extremely impressive. I guess Clayton Tune was the quarterback. One thing that we did not cover, because it was a very up in the air of a week, Deshaun Watson did play, and he looked really good. Let's go back to defense, though, but I had to throw that in there. Myles Garrett, Delvin Tomlinson, Shelby Harris, monster of a game, Denzel Ward, I mean, lights out.
Taki.
Incredible, yes. The list goes on. This was a very, very good defense performance. Yes, it was against, I said, a Clayton Tune offense on their third string running back. I get it. But no matter what, like, it was impressive.
They did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah. You know,
it kind of seemed like that was the theme of this week. Go out there and take care of business, because that's what good teams do. They go out there when the odds are stacked against the other team, especially when you're at home. You go in there, you take care of business, end the game, get the goose egg, get the dub, and get ready for the rivalry game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Offensively, it was a very rough sighting. The offense really didn't click. The running game was near non-existent.
Yeah, I believe it was held under 3 yards a carry on average. So it was a kind of a, I don't know, weak performance from the run game. But checkdowns continue to be and the screen game continues to be a very strong focal point of this offense. And a couple nice shots to,
downfield.
While
Watson had a very solid outing. Yeah. I wouldn't say great. I wouldn't say wonderful.
Yeah.
It just looked very sharp. Like you're starting to see these signs of progression.
Yeah.
I mean, just some of them, those throws, man, were just in the basket. Like
perfect.
Perfect throws, what we expected to see when we traded for him.
The one that obviously pops out in my mind, and it has to in a lot of people's mind, is when Amari Cooper down the stretch, double coverage, and he was just like this, and it just fell right to the basket. It was beautiful. If it was underthrown, interception for sure. Overthrown, no one's getting that ball. It was perfect. It kind of pointed you in the right direction where we want to start going, right? Mm-hmm. That we're like, okay, he's getting back on track. The thing is, obviously we're going against this week Ravens defense that is very, very good. So this is the true test. But but if you think about this, his last full start was the Tennessee game. So that's 2 good games in a row. So when you look at it that way,
I think that's a good segue into the next game, Ratbirds week.
Yeah.
Baltimore is just taking names and kicking ass all over this fucking league right now.
7-2.
Well, they lost to the Steelers in the catch-a-ball, which is a game that goes either way every time they play. And then they dropped one at home in overtime against the Minshew Mania Colts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So this is a very strong Baltimore team that would like to make their argument for their case as the number 1 defense in the league. They stand at number 1 in QBR ratings against their offense, and ratings for receivers against their pass defense. As a far as getting to the quarterback, they're number one in the league with damn near over 35 sacks on the season already, where the Browns are in third place right now. They also have a very big notice on turnovers, which is another spot where the Browns are starting to improve. So, this is going to be talked about this week in this week's game when you talk about these two defenses,
Yeah.
because you're getting a Baltimore defense that's probably going to flex its muscles against a Browns
Sure.
struggling offense. Um, and the Browns defense will probably have its work cut out for them once again, where they're going to probably be put in a situation where they're going to have to make some stops to win the game, even if they're on the field for, majority of the game.
Yeah, I feel like with this Ravens team, you look around the league, you even look at the Browns actually, where it's like the defense is so good and the offense struggles. In recent weeks with the Ravens, they are so on the same playing field. The defense is very good, the offense is playing very good, and that's very tough for an opposing team that has. We're good sometimes on offense, and we're really good on defense, but we could either boom or bust.
Yeah.
And that's where we get into a sticky situation of which how are we gonna play? Which Browns offense is gonna come out there?
Well,
And
we'll see.
yeah, we'll see in a few days, right?
It's
I
it's going to be interesting in one because it's Watson's first um, Ravens game that actually means something. Last year he played one against Baltimore, but Lamar did not play, and the Browns and the Ravens were kind of like Browns were out of contention,
yeah
and the Ravens were brink contention. Um, the it just boils down to this. This Baltimore offense has been pretty hot for all the injuries they've been dealing with. You've seen a lot of the rookie and Zay Flowers. Odell made his first appearance in the end zone this past
yep
week, having over 50 yards in receiving as well. Mark Andrews has been phenomenal once again.
yeah and
Uh,
well,
Gus
I
Gus
was gonna
Edwards
say Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards has stepped up once again in that running back role. Had 2 touchdowns last week, and now a new appearance from a rookie running back in Mitchell, who had over 135 yards
Yeah,
last week against Seattle.
shedding tackles. Yeah,
Yes,
he looked good, man.
and I mean, and then you can't go without saying with, I would say, probably going to be this year's MVP in Lamar Jackson, who's been number one in the league in completion rating and passes downfield, believe it or not, you know, running back playing quarterback, but he's
Yeah.
leading most of the stat lines in the league right now in passing.
Yeah, and that's one thing I feel like you can say about a lot of quarterbacks, right? Where it's he's a running back playing quarterback. I think as you could have said that for his first couple of years, but I think that is a term that's overused at this point for him because he's a very good quarterback, way above average, as a passer in my opinion. And I mean, you can say that about Josh Allen, can you not?
Yeah,
And if anything, I think Josh Allen's struggling more with passing than Lamar Jackson is at this point. So that conversation I think is skewed. So uh,
it's a, I mean, it's there's an underlying conversation that's been held for generations about the black quarterback. I don't mean to make this political, but you made a good point there. Josh Allen is just as much as a runner as Lamar Jackson,
100%.
but
Yeah,
he's been struggling a lot more this last couple of years than
I
Lamar
think he has
is.
9 picks on the season.
Lamar has gone out and performed with a lot less than Josh Allen has.
That's
Josh Allen has had Stephon Diggs,
yeah,
it's Gabe Davis. Like it's not a
yeah.
weak offense. Like
Lamar's had
Lamar's had
Bateman.
scrubs.
Yeah,
Scrubs up until this year where they actually drafted a receiver.
and the thing is though with that conversation as well is like the running back, quarterback. It's like Josh Allen is now kind of being limited with his runs. I think they're clearly going to get hurt eventually. So they're like, all right, are you going to throw it more? He's been turning the ball over a lot more. But also, I mean, he got paid like 2 years earlier than Lamar Jackson did out of the same draft class. So
It's just a funny thing that you
yes,
see when you talk about quarterbacks in this league. People will talk down on Lamar,
well,
but
we saw it all off season, right?
Lamar,
All off season
yeah,
until he got his deal, and they're like, "That's why." Like, yeah, no shit, dude. Like, he should have paid him.
Lamar's been a great quarterback. I mean, I'd say he's better than Michael Vick at this point. He's done
Yes. Yeah.
he's done more things for the game that people don't see right now. That he makes this offense so crazy good. Like even when they're limited,
Yeah.
because what they do pre-snap, and they know the threat of Lamar with his legs and his arm now. That if you want to play man coverage, you're going to get burnt. You want to play zone coverage, he's going to pick you apart.
Yeah.
And this is where it's
Especially with his tight ends. He
yeah.
loves his tight ends. Obviously, Mark Andrew and Likely. They are very good tight ends that find the gaps in the defense. I mean, that I mean, it's happened time and time against us, especially, but it happens every week in and week out against every other team. One thing I will say about Lamar and one of the weak sides he has is he is very prone to strip sacks.
Yep. Number
And
one in the league in
yeah,
fumbles.
so that is one thing, and that's I think a good segment into some cowtails. This defensive line needs to get one of these bad boys because
It's a redemption week.
they need to really yes after their last game where they didn't against the Ravens they didn't really get to him all that much. This pressure needs to be on.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett needs to be that dude to get one of them strip sacks. Shelby Harris I'd love to see show up again. One person is Darius Smith. I really want to see get out there a little bit more, and
He's been a little quiet.
he's been too quiet, and I think he needs to kind of turn it up right now. So, Darius, Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, Myles Garrett, Jordan Elliott. By the way, what the hell is going on?
2 sacks in the season now.
Sweet Jesus.
Oh man.
So that defensive line definitely needs to step up and make Lamar pressured, man. I know you probably got another cowtail, but go for it. I have one person in mind as well.
Cocktail goes to Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
Like I said, this is his first Ravens game of meaning. This is a big week, and the offense needs that little bump of energy.
Sure.
And I think I don't think I know it all starts with the quarterback position. You got to find ways for Deshaun to make this offense look fluid.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna have to make plays that are not drawn up to win this game. This pocket is gonna break a lot. He's gonna have to make plays with his legs, which I think he did a good job of last week against Arizona.
Especially that check down to Jerome.
The little check downs, check downs are gonna come in handy. But this is a very tough pass defense and a pass rush.
Sure.
They're very good at stopping the run, so it's gonna be very, Deshaun based this week.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about Deshaun is that he needs to really stack these performances, get him in a rhythm. He can't just go out there and look like how he played, earlier on in the season, and just kind of be, he needs to really start stacking these victories and these stacking performances that are good. And he needs to do it this week. He really does, because I don't see us pulling this game off without a good Deshaun Watson performance. Last cowtail thrown out here is on defense. I'm splitting this between two people in particular. Sione Takitaki.
Oh.
And
Taki gets 2 back-to-back.
Who do you think? Take a guess who this
other?
JOK. JOK. Absolutely. That's what you need.
I thought you were gonna go JOK and Delpit.
Delpit you can break this off in 3. All 3 of those guys are going to be vital, in my opinion, to this win if we get it. Open field tackling, stopping Lamar, playing the spy, and really making sure he is not in open field. All 3 of these guys are going to be vital in that role, and I think these 3 guys in particular are going to be the best at stopping him.
Yeah, well, I think the big downfall last time they played Baltimore was the open field tackling. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was probably our worst defensive game of the year.
They're also on the field a ton.
I know, but as far as broken tackles go, they had a really tough time. Um, it's just the thing with Baltimore is what they do behind, the line of scrimmage before the play. They're taking your eyes from one side to the other. It's That's what makes them very disruptive. Is that you can send someone across. So there's a guy coming across the field. He could get the ball. The running back could get the ball. Lamar could take it.
Yeah.
Lamar could take it and throw it. And this is where linebackers and safeties really come in handy and need to have big games like in this situation, because this Baltimore offense is an anomaly to the rest of the league. There's not many teams in the league that can run an offense like this. Um, I stated a couple weeks ago with San Francisco what they do pre-snap is phenomenal, but Baltimore, between what they do in motion and what they do read option
Sure.
and what Lamar can do just by himself,
The X factor.
it's crazy to think of. Um, I think their best bet is zone coverage this week against this Baltimore um, offense, because man coverage is where Lamar makes his money.
Sure.
But I think that's a good point to start into our Royal Donuts keys to the game. Um, it's just gonna be stack the box. Stack the box. You got to make Lamar throw the ball this week. And I did just say, he's a very underrated passer, but at the very same time, giving what they do very well is you need to stack this box because they're going to be moving you around so much. This is a very run balanced team where they're going to lean very heavily on the run, um, to basically blow your defense up. So the more you stack the box, you're going to be able to stop everything else. Um, this is not a team that takes a lot of shots downfield. Um, I mean,
They're very good over the middle.
yes, they're
Extremely
very
good.
good in the middle. So it's going to be a very much of a pick your poison kind of game. And I think at this point, you'd rather have them throw the ball than run the ball, which has been a very tough, talking point for the Browns
Sure.
in the last couple weeks. Giving up over 100 yards in almost 3 games already this year, 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it starts with a stack in the box, I believe.
Nice. Yeah, I think another Royal Donut keys to the game here is win the turnover differential. Get turnovers and do not give up turnovers. Uh, I think that is going to be huge, and how it's going to kind of play out. Like, who has more time of possession and how can we limit them on the field as an offense is going to be, I think, pretty massive.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I do think in the last game, obviously it was a lot of 3-and-outs, punts, all this kind of crap where our defense was on the field an extended period of time, where defenses get kind of like worn down fast, right? And this constantly just trying to, defend really tires them out. And so when they're on that field so much, you can just keep running and running and running. We talk about it all the time. The run game will eventually happen and the defense will break down. Well, you're playing the Ravens, man. That's gonna happen, and it happened earlier on in this season in Week 4. And if you allow it, it's gonna happen. This week. So a lot of turnovers need to happen and keep them off the field.
All right, this one is to the hidden heroes the of the football team, the third facet of football, the special teams.
Yes.
Special teams, you gotta execute.
Yeah.
Whether it's making your field goals or not
Punts.
not allowing big returns on kicks and punts, but the punter and Corey Borges needs to have that ability to flip the field in this game.
If he had a game like he did this past week, that gives us a very nice setup.
If you go back and watch the Baltimore game, the first one in the beginning of the season, Baltimore had
the best field position
field position for the whole entirety of
they basically started at midfield. every single
I think
drive.
they maybe had one or two drives where they had to start from within their own 20.
Yeah,
Then the rest were start at the 40-yard
yeah, I
line.
know it was.
It's
Yeah,
it. I
I'm
mean,
surprised they didn't score more.
given the what was going on with that first game, not having our quarterback and having a rookie quarterback in,
Yeah.
we weren't moving the ball very much, so it was hard to push the ball to the other side of the field
Hmm.
at a consistent basis. So Bjorkas needs to have another great game where he's flipping the field with these long 70 to 80-yard punts that
Yeah.
honestly have been a big help for the Browns defense.
So on to the next segment, I guess, is the Michael Lewis real estate.
Not this Michael Lewis.
Not me, not me. Uh, the better one. Uh, games to watch. What games are you feeling that is a game that you would watch that you're kind of really amped up and excited for this week?
I've actively criticized this game for being the Sunday night football game this upcoming week. They just had the Monday night football game, and they make a reappearance on Sunday night football, and it's the Jets and the Raiders. And I will say this: this is the time of year where you need to go look up and down the standings and see where teams are borderline playoff teams and fighting for the wild card. The league ended, I mean, the season ended today. All of the AFC North would be in the playoffs. But as you know, there's a lot of divisional games coming up in the next 2 weeks. You got Baltimore and Cincinnati next week, and you got Browns and Pittsburgh next week.
Mm-hmm.
You got Browns Ravens this week.
Yeah.
You got Bengals Texans. The implications that these games could have on the playoffs are huge.
Sure.
That's why I'm going to say Jets and Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
They're both shit show teams, but the Jets have been hanging in there.
4-4.
They're 4-5 at the moment, but they've been hanging in there in every single game, and this is easily a gimme game for both of them. The Raiders have fired Josh McDaniels. They had put Aiden McConnell over Garoppolo.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a very interesting game because the Raiders are just hanging in there too.
You know what's a fun thing about the Raiders? I don't know why. This popped into my head the other day. Was why do they always play so much better when they have like an interim coach? They're so good if they have an interim coach and they seek out another. They're like, oh, we don't need him. Let's go get a real coach. And a guy comes in and just crashes and burns almost all the time. But with the interim coach, awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I've been openly criticizing them for this game
As you should.
because it should. I mean, at this point, you should be moving Browns Baltimore to Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of games this week that you could easily move to Sunday Night Football. Detroit at Chargers, Houston and Cincinnati. Those are all.
Which is going to be very good.
And the very next game you're about to say.
Yes.
This easily could have been a Sunday night game.
Absolutely. So this game, you know, there's one team that is on a roll and you know could really stand out here, and we got another team that really needs a win and to really bounce back after their bye week. In that team, that game is the 49ers versus the Jags. This is gonna be a good game, man. There's two very very good teams here. Jacksonville, I feel like you know at 6-2, you know, prove it. You know, beat the Niners, but also the Niners dropped 3 in a row, so they need a win. And I believe everyone's coming back healthy this week
Yep, coming off the bye week.
bye. So you know, with a full team, which they haven't had since the Cleveland game, what can they do? Can they stop this Jags team? We'll see. See soon. I'm very excited for this game. Um, as for that, let's move into predictions. How you feeling about this game? We're on the road in Baltimore.
Yeah. It's a tough one.
Yes, it is.
Baltimore's coming off a big win against Seattle. As you know, we dropped that one in Seattle. A nice 37-3 game. The Browns, you know, lost to Baltimore already 27-3. And Baltimore might be the hottest team in the league right now.
Yeah.
You're seeing Miami starting to struggle, come back to life here. or reality, should I say. Buffalo has not been any existed. Cincinnati is definitely up there in that conversation.
Cincinnati's rolling.
San Francisco has came down from reality. Sure. Eagles have sustained. Yeah. Same with the Chiefs.
Yes. But nonetheless, the Ravens are very hot.
The Ravens are probably the biggest threat to the Chiefs right now.
Sure.
So that being said, I have a very hard time believing the Browns are going to win this week. I do feel like this is a redemption game for them. The circumstances are different for both teams. But I'm going to have to go fucking Ratbirds, 27-13. Given the performance the Browns had offensively last week, I don't think they can put up the points against what could arguably say the best defense in the league right now. This is going to be a big showdown of who's got the better defense.
Sure. Yeah. I definitely could see, if you stack the teams together, right, and how they're playing and how they look, the Ravens definitely look more of a threat to, the top tier of the AFC at the moment than the Browns do. But I don't give a shit. All right, Browns are going to win this game. I don't care, dude. I'm going to go 27-24 Browns pulling this game off. I think Miles is going to have a monster game, and I think Deshaun's really going to show us why we paid him. And I think he's going to eke it out, and he's going to have a really good game. And we're going to win this one. So, I don't know. Feeling good about it. I'm feeling good about it. I don't know. I have no idea why, but I feel good about it.
Well, we'll put your money on the money line.
No.
It's 260. Plus 260. Go ahead.
I'm going to put 10 bucks, okay? I'm going to put $10. We'll see.
$26 for $10?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know.
Put 100 down.
I don't want 100 down.
Put the fucking.
Then you put your money down. The Browns losing. I'd love to see that.
No, there's no point. They're fucking favored by 220.
Don't care. I don't care. Browns are winning this week, guys.
Against them.
I could never do it. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you next week. Go Browns.
Browns.